Hello, everyone. It's Friday, the 12th of January, um, 2:22 in the afternoon GMT, and the second front has opened up. The U.S., the UK, and probably others who may want to remain anonymous, but there's quite a international flotilla in the Red Sea, have gone on the offensive and attacked launch sites and what they think are probably storage sites or ammo dumps of the Houthis in Yemen. Although it remains to be seen, they struck allegedly 70 places. You never know how many were effective, and don't hold your breath. You can watch out for any. When the college students come back to campus, which they'll start to do soon. Watch out, but don't hold your breath for any demonstrations for innocent civilian Yemenis who might have been killed in the American attack, because there's no Jews involved. So I doubt they'll be so concerned. Um, but that front is open, for I don't know, months now. The U.S. at least certainly has been battling on the defensive level, incoming missiles and drones and all sorts of projectiles and explosive devices, including vessels, armed manned vessels attacks. And finally, they went on the offensive yesterday and started to fight back. We'll see. It'll take some time for the dust to settle, but mostly see if the Houthis respond in kind and continue their fire. The war grinds on in Gaza. The casualties are around, they're close to 180 deaths. This is IDF personnel in the field after October 7th, not counting the ones that died in the initial assault. 100 say 180 deaths, about 250, 270 severely wounded, and maybe another thousand or so light to moderately wounded. Um, the number of engineers, of course, is highly disproportionate, this is an engineering war, and the engineers as certainly are taking a disproportionate amount of casualties. They're still, haven't fully secured the northern part of Gaza. Khan Yunis and Western Khan Yunis are not far from secured. Although on the positive front, there is plenty of food moving in through Kerem Shalom, 100 trucks a day or something. Fairly, nobody's starving to death there, regardless of what the UN says. Nobody's starving to death. Question, of course, is the third front. When's it going to open? Um, it's going to open. It's clearly going to open. The question is when and how bad it's going to be. But in the meantime, there's nothing any of us can do but wait. Um, that's and Yochanan took a break. He's uh, he's back home with his family in Florida, so that's good news. I don't know if he'll come back and do yet another stretch, but for the time being, he's safe and sound at home. And I just wanted to address one thing that a close relative had mentioned a while ago, and I hadn't had a chance to respond to because I've been very busy lately with all sorts of stuff on my own here. This looks like this whole situation here, this whole map, this whole amount of firepower and weaponry and death and destruction that's just floating in the open seas around here. It's frightening. And by the way, a lot of this force is meant to intimidate. In the case of the Houthis, it seems to be more of a challenge to them, but they are capable of suppressing and actually neutralizing these kinds of threats. The modern naval warfare is missile warfare, and whether it's land-based missiles, air-based missiles, or sea-based or subsurface even missiles, these forces are well equipped, if not the best equipped forces in the world to deal with this very problem. So that's somewhat good news. But it looks like maybe that this could be the spark point of a world war, a much bigger conflagration. It's certainly. I mean, I'm not denying the frightening fearfulness of what's going on here. It's that for sure. But mostly, I see this is a unified effort against Iran. Iran has been a troublesome nation in the family of nations since '79 when Ayatollah took over and the Pahlavi regime finally came to an end. And they've been causing trouble because I won't go into the whole Shiite Sunni thing, but they're troublemakers, and now they've been fomenting trouble with proxies all over the Middle East and around the world. By the way, they're also alleged to that guy, that Suleiman monster that the Americans took out in 2020, was alleged to have masterminded that the Argentinian bombing in the late 80s or the early, I forget when it was, a huge 80, 90 people were killed in that the community center bombing in Argentina. Anyway, that and so I see this more as an attempt to sort of box them in, remove their proxies, defang them, and then try to bring them back into the family of nations somehow. This is obviously a later end game thing, but I don't see this as a world war because there's no alliance against the alliance that's facing Iran. Iran is largely alone. The North Koreans aren't sending it any weapons. The Chinese are keeping a healthy distance. The Russians are grinding themselves to a pulp in the Ukraine. So it's not, I don't see this, breaking out into anything like a really giant world war. I mean, if that comforts anybody, it should. I mean, it should. If you're concerned about world war, I don't think it's going to happen here or now. Particularly because of the overwhelming American force that is in the area. I mean, that's going to at least suppress any eruptions of anything, and certainly, God forbid, should it really erupt in some sort of you know World War like affair. I think they can do a pretty good job at suppressing it. So I just wanted to say one more thing before I finish. There's been, the things are calming down a little bit because the college students are at home. Once they come back, it's going to start up again. And the press will, get on the bandwagon, and the anti-Semitism thing is going to start bubbling up again. I just want to address um, well, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Zionist gambit. Anybody who tells you that is anti-Semitic. Nobody says, well, it's just an untenable, idiotic position. I think there should be a ceasefire. I don't think you have the right to pursue your enemy, but I'm not really against you as a nation. Just your policy of defending yourself and trying to stay alive and keep people who are sworn enemies at bay. It's just patently idiotic, and we have to, somehow see that as such, and don't be fooled by it. Just don't be fooled by it. So with that delightful, yes, thank you. That's my little robot friend. Um, that'll do it for today, ladies and gentlemen, friends and loved ones. Stay informed, stay strong, stay in touch. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.